Hey everybody, thanks for joining the channel today. I'm Dane, your host. Hope you're doing well wherever you may find yourselves. Today's episode is about bands and artists that I've outgrown. A kind of get to know you video again. I did a video about a week ago about the bands or artists I just don't get. So these are bands or artists at one point I got, but now for whatever reason I've simply outgrown them, and it happens to the best of us, right? All right, let's start with groups or artists that go back to my early childhood. So we're talking 7 or 8. And so let's start with ABBA. My sister was a big ABBA fan growing up. I couldn't tell you if she listens to them anymore. I've never heard her talk about them in the last 25, 30 years. Anyway, I don't know. But for me, no, I remember her having the two albums. One has them all in the helicopter on the cover, and then the other one, they're in the park, and it's a gatefold. On the front is two of the members of the band that are the couple on the front on the park bench, and you open it or look at the back, it's the other half of the park bench and the other couple sitting down or standing up or whatever. I'm not the biggest pop music fan. I like British invasion pop, like the Who, the Kinks, the Stones, the Beatles, but this is ultra pop, dance pop, not my cup of tea, not anymore. The next, the Bee Gees. I went through a phase as a young man, 7, 8 years old, 9, Saturday Night Fever and all that. I like falsetto with, say, Zebra, and at times with Robert Plant on The Song Remains the Same, on House of the Holy, and at other times, but this type of falsetto doesn't do anything for me. I just can't listen to this anymore. I've outgrown it. Casey and the Sunshine Band. That was, again, youthful, impressionable, but I've matured since then. It's not my cup of tea. Ambrosia, I like some yacht rock, but I've outgrown Ambrosia. I remember there were 3 songs by them that I liked, even though I remember painstakingly going through the discography a long time ago and just liking those 3 songs. Now I never need to hear those 3 songs again, the 3 big hits that they have, How Much I Feel, and then I forget the other 2. Air Supply, never need to hear any of that anymore. Moving away from my childhood a bit, going to college or grad school maybe, the White Stripes. I remember there was something about the White Stripes that made me think of T-Rex for some reason, but now when I try to listen, I don't hear it. For whatever reason, I just moved away from them. I don't care for anything Jack White has done since that. I don't care much for his solo stuff, so I stay away from that too. Loverboy. Everybody's working for the weekend, and just, again, outgrew it. It was a sign of the times. It's not a sign of the times for me anymore. Okay. Boz Scaggs. Again, youthful thing, not anymore. Speaking of Boz Scaggs, I don't listen to the Steve Miller Band anymore. I can't remember the last time I felt the urge to listen to him. And of course, Boz Scaggs was a member of the Steve Miller Band during that psychedelic period that they had before Steve Miller went more commercial. Christopher Cross, I never need to hear Sailing or anything from that album that went like double platinum or quadruple platinum or whatever, that has the flamingo on the cover, and the other stuff I was never fond of to begin with. Toto, another band I don't care to listen to anymore. These next 2, especially the second one I'm going to mention, is painful to mention because they were one of my favorite bands of all time, but I'll get to them in a minute. But this next one, I don't feel guilty at all for not liking them anymore or feel the need to listen to them and talk about Nirvana. Just nothing pulls me towards them anymore. And then the one that pains me to admit is the Foo Fighters. They used to be in my top 30 favorite bands of all time, but I just don't feel pulled towards any of that. The next one is not Overkill, but the band Urge Overkill. So the song Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon, the Neil Diamond cover that made its way into the Pulp Fiction soundtrack and in the movie. I used to love them. They would probably have been at one point in my top 40 or 50, but for whatever reason, I don't want to listen to them anymore. Radiohead. Particularly, I, for the most part, loved Kid A, but most especially OK Computer was my favorite, but now I listen to them now and I'm not feeling what I used to feel. Muse, and I'll leave them at that. This next band had kind of a Queen vibe going on, Foxy Shazam or Foxy Shazam. Not sure how you're supposed to pronounce that, but just not my cup of tea anymore. This next one I loved at a very young age because of the movie Rock and Roll High School. Of course, I'm talking about the Ramones. But I just don't want to listen to them anymore. They're not my thing anymore. Again, you grow out of things. Next is Queens of the Stone Age. Next is Smashing Pumpkins. This next one also pains me to admit, and that is the band Tool. They were one of my favorite bands in grad school. And putting the debut album aside, which was okay, but everything after that, that proggy, melodic, progressive metal, I loved and I dig. But I remember getting super excited when that last album was coming out. This is 5 years ago now, 5 years ago. And one of my students was like, yeah, Tool's got a new album coming out, so I get excited. And then they didn't release it on CD. It was just a download from Amazon and other places. And then they finally released it twice on CD, but it was like a deluxe box set worth like, you had to pay like $40+ bucks. I was like, I just kind of got turned off by that. And I've never listened to them since. And I have, for some strange desire, no desire to listen to them. I mean, anyway, the next one, I Sleep Just Fine at Night, U2. The next one after that, I Sleep Just Fine at Night, REM. I have no desire to listen to these. They have fallen out of favor with me for whatever reason. The next one I loved for a hot minute, and that was Marilyn Manson. The next one I also loved for a hot minute, and that was Bush. I liked their first album, not much after that. I saw them live a few years ago. They were fun, but I don't feel compelled. This next one is a bit difficult to mention because I used to love them too, and that's the band Disturbed, but I feel no desire. The next one, I Sleep Fine at Night, admitting that I don't listen to them anymore, and that's Stained. The next one is Avenged Sevenfold. The next two I really liked in high school, but I just don't care for Guns N' Roses and LA Guns. This next one is a punk band I used to be quite fond of right after high school or in high school, senior year, give or take. Husker Du. While we're on the topic, Bob Mould. None of his solo work appeals to me anymore. Steely Dan, I liked for a hot minute. I started off as a young man loathing Steely Dan, and then as an adult, and I'm talking like I jumped aboard the Steely Dan train like in my late 30s, early 40s, and then I jumped right off. I don't know, for a minute I was like, I don't know why. Something about them appealed to me, but it didn't last very long, so Steely Dan. The next are three Billies, Billy Joel, Billy Idol, and Billy Squier. I'll move on. The next is going to make some people angry, but why be angry? It's how I feel. Bruce Springsteen. Moving on is Bon Jovi. I like Martin Popoff, the music critic. He said once in one of his podcast or YouTube channel videos that he likes the song Runaway and that's it, and I pretty much feel the same way. Of course, as you know, Bon Jovi, once the third album rolled around, they realized that there was a market in the young ladies, and so they went towards that even more commercial appeal, and at that point I'm out. Now, this next band is not the band from here in Metairie, New Orleans area, the heavy metal band Incubus, but the pop band Incubus. I used to like them for a hot minute and don't care to listen to them anymore. The next band is The Police. The next band is Ministry. Used to be one of my favorite bands. I have no desire to listen to Ministry anymore. The next two are grunge bands, Tad and Mudhoney. The next is the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Oh well. The next is Jane's Addiction. I liked them for a hot minute back in the early 90s. The next is Virgin Steel. The next is Mother Love Bone. The next is Driving and Crying. I love them for about a hot second. The next is Screaming Trees, another grunge band. The next, I love them for a hot minute, was the Pixies. Days of the New comes to mind. I don't need to hear any more bands where the lead singer has this type of vocal style. Yeah! I don't need that anymore in my life. Live. Nashville P. Karma to Burn. Michael Jackson. And finally, this pains me a little bit, but not much, Sunny Day Real Estate. So a short video, But thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Don't forget to click the notification button to be apprised of all upcoming videos. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye now.